Hello, fantasy sports fans, and welcome to MFSN's The Hub's weekly NBA waiver wire show. I'll be your host this evening, Kasey Scheinvold, and I'm joined by as always, by the one and only Ross the Boss.
Hey, everybody, I'm Ross the Boss, and I want to talk NBA waiver wire. Week 4 with you, Cowboy. I'm excited, babe. This is unbelievable, babe. This is great. This is going to be a great show. I got some great picks, babe. It's going to be great. Let's get started.
Oh, dear. We have Ross doing impersonations tonight. Dan will not be joining us tonight as he has other commitments, so we're going to try to carry the load and represent.
So much better without that guy Dan around. It's like night and day. Kasey, thank you for coming. I mean, you make my highlight of the day. Without Dan Ratner here, the show's so much better. It flows better. We communicate better. It's the best. Yes!
Well, I appreciate the compliment. Just to refresh everybody, what we like to do here weekly on this show is recommend some players who can help your fantasy basketball rosters. We tend to focus on players in the Yahoo system who are owned at less than 60%. We try to give you some reasons why they're good and why they can help your team. Obviously, we're about a month into the season, so you get a good sense, I think, at this point. And Ross, maybe you can speak to it about whether somebody is a flash in the pan or whether somebody's the real deal, because we have a large enough sample. So, Ross, let me ask you a question before we get started. When you're looking at the numbers, when you're looking at a player's statistics, how do you determine whether this is a potential breakout or somebody who you still don't trust?
Well, for me, a big stat that I look at is how much time they play in a game. I mean, if they're in the rotation, even if they're on the second team, if they're playing 25 to 30 minutes a game, that's the guy I want on my team. I don't want some guy playing 18, 17, 12 minutes a game. That's not going to really help your team at all. I mean, this is a guy that's going to play rarely that much time. He's not going to be in the game during crunch time. So you want a player that's playing between 25 and 30 minutes. That's the key. And you also want a player that does great in all the stats, just not points, but rebounds, assists, steals, and in percentages. So all that being said, it sounds easy, but it's really hard. I mean, there's a lot of guys that have great upside. Let's say Russell Westbrook. Oh, he's a triple-double guy. Kasey, you must love to have Russell on your team. I don't think you do.
No, I struggle with him because of those shooting percentages. As somebody who is...
And turnovers. I mean, his turnover rate, I think I'm pretty sure he leads the NBA. He's horrible.
Yeah, I as somebody who's newer to the NBA fantasy kind of landscape and doesn't understand these numbers as well, I tend to ask a lot of questions as a host because I'm just trying to learn as we go. But before we get into naming players, I think we want to talk about our sponsor, Killcliff. Killcliff CBD is the best tasting CBD drink in the world. It has flavors like Orange Kush, Mango Tango, Strawberry Daze, the grapest of all time, and Joe Rogan's spicy pineapple called the Flaming Joe. It's founded by a Navy SEAL for those who aren't Navy SEALs, although I would argue that they think Navy SEALs could probably drink it too. It's the biggest no-brainer in the history of drinks. Go to killcliff.com to buy your own. So, Ross, do you drink Killcliff?
Delicious. I drink it every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's delicious. It keeps me going. That's why I'm Ross the Boss.
Excellent. All right, so let's jump right in. Ross.
Yes.
We're going to jump around a little bit with positioning, but I want to start with who do you think is your top pickup this week, regardless of position?
That's a great question. So under 60%, it just depends what your team needs. I mean, my team, I'm looking for a guard, and for me, it's Eric Bledsoe for the Clippers. He's starting to play around 30 minutes a game. He's getting almost 20 points a game right now. He's in the rotation. Kawhi Leonard's not coming back anytime soon, just so you know. I mean, I know Dr. Dan Ratner has him stashed away on his team like he's coming back.
Yeah, they're not sure he's going to be back at all this
Christmas year. Miracle, there's Kawhi Leonard. It's not going to happen. He's not showing up on Christmas Day. It's not going to happen. If he shows up, it'll be in March. It'll be February. It'll be really later. But long story short, Eric Bledsoe to me, that's the guy. If I could pick him up in my league, which I can't, he's already taken. But he's under 60%. And that's my favorite pickup of the week.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of him, and somebody who we've talked about for a couple of weeks now is Alex Caruso in Chicago. He's still playing well. I think he's nicked up right now. I think they have him listed as a game time decision on his next game, but he's another guy who's doing, it seems like he's doing it all: scoring, rebounds, assists, and steals.
Let's talk about the Bulls real quick. I mean, the Bulls last year, they stunk. They stink. They were horrible. Not a good team. This year, I'm picking the Bulls to win the East this year. I love their synergy. I love how they play together. I love the youth. Ball and Levine. And I mean, it's just a great tandem of players they have on that team playing together. And now with Caruso on that team, it brings them a lot of bench players. I mean, Caruso doesn't start. He comes off the bench, but he still plays 25 to 30 minutes a game. And he was great with the Lakers. I loved him when he played for the Lakers. He was a great role player. Now with Chicago, he's getting more responsibility. He's looking good. If he only had hair on his head, he'd be better. But he doesn't have hair, but I won't rule it against him. Alex Caruso, you're right. I do like Alex Caruso, especially on that Chicago Bull team.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think preseason when we were talking about basketball, I don't think the Bulls were really on our radar as one of those teams to watch. Last year they had, was it Kobe White, who was the big kind of preseason buzz for somebody who's going to
and go back to Kobe White. You just brought up another guy. So Kobe White's back. He's healthy. He's averaging, like, he's played the past 2 games. He just plays 10 minutes a game. I mean, it's like you could put Dr. Dan Ratner out there for 10 minutes a night. He doesn't even shoot the ball. He has like 0 points. I mean, he's supposed to be this marquee player. He's not. He's barely in the rotation. So if you have Kobe White, drop him immediately. Don't keep him on your team.
Yeah, I was talking about
like him. Because he was out, he kind of lost. The coach said, "Forget it. You're going to be a role player now. We'll put you on the bench." Yeah. So Kobe White's something that you and I both loved. North Carolina, great head of hair. But you know what? Doesn't matter. The Bulls are playing so well. I know they lost last night to Portland, but they've been on a huge road trip. They beat the Lakers. They beat the Clippers. I mean, they've been beating everybody. And I know they lost last night, and Lillard had a great game. I watched it. But long story short, the Bulls are the team I think are going to win the East.
Yeah, it's hard for White to find the floor when Caruso and Lonzo Ball are both playing so well. Where do you put them? And so you feel a little bad for the guy, but hey, it's the NBA, and that's what happens. If you're not the strongest on the floor, you're not going to see it very often. So give me a big man who you really like this week.
I mean, I felt this week guards were like the hardest position to kind of fill under 60%. Forward-wise, I mean, there's a few guys. I love Josh Hart. He plays for New Orleans. Every year I always say Josh Hart. I feel he's a player that's not respected. He came, he was drafted. I believe the Lakers drafted him, and he was traded over to New Orleans. He's still there. I mean, Josh Hart recently, I think he had 20 points the last time he played. He's getting more playing time, more responsibility, great shooting percentage. I believe he's hitting like 50% in the past 5 games. He's been lighting it up. But for me, Josh Hart with steals, rebounds, assists, everything else, I like. He's my favorite pickup forward-wise this week.
Okay. Yeah, and he qualifies actually at both shooting guard and small forward, so you can use him at four different positions. So that's certainly something that makes him a lot more versatile. We talk about him a lot. You're the Clippers guy. There's nothing flashy about him, but he can hit threes and he can grab some boards, and that's Nicholas Batum. He just, no matter what, he plays 27. The last 2 weeks he's played 27 minutes a game. He's averaging over 10, about 10 points a game, but he's hit 16 3-pointers. He's got a block a game. He's got over a steal a game. He does all those. He does all those little things outside of the scoring that can really enhance your roster and give you some strengths there, where other players who are just points guys and percentages guys don't do.
Batum, Frenchman from France, speaks fluent French.
I would hope if he's from France.
The thing about Batum is this: he's been off and on hurt all year. He's nursing an injury. Morris has been out, and I don't think he's coming back for a while, Marcus Morris. But Batum, I love Batum. He's a good player, and he's starting to rebound also, which was his weak point the past couple seasons. As long as Morris is out, start Batum. If you can pick him up, pick him up. It just depends. If Morris comes back, his playing time will be diminished a little bit.
Yeah. Now, our cover boy today is JaVale McGee. And I know you talked earlier when I was saying, what do you look for in somebody you're going to pick up as minutes played? And this is somebody who's only playing a little over 17 or about 18 minutes a game in the last 2 weeks. But the guy is averaging almost 2 blocks a game, a steal a game, a bunch of rebounds, and a bunch of points. So do you take an efficiency player like that as a per minute? Because my thinking on that is, let's say, what day is today? Thursday. So if you're in a week-to-week heads-up league like you and I are, where you play from Monday to Sunday, if I'm able to compete, if I can get a couple blocks, is that somebody who you would put in later in the week to try to boost up your blocks?
He qualifies as a center too, which is, there's not many centers that are available. So I know his minutes aren't that great because they have DeAndre Ayton on the team, and he gets a lot of playing time, University of Arizona grad. But that all being said, McGee, if you need a center, it's not a bad pickup. Centers are very hard to come by. There's not many that are qualified as a center. And if you're in a big league over 12 teams, you probably need McGee. Even though he doesn't look like he showers. Every time I see him, he looks like he hasn't taken a shower in weeks. I feel like he stinks. But it doesn't matter in basketball. You're not, you just got to guard him for a second here and there, and that's it. But McGee, yes, you're right. He's having a good season. I wish he gets more playing time, being a fantasy owner. But you know what? The center position is so sparse right now. It's a good pickup. You're right.
Yeah, I was going through players today looking for him, and I didn't find many that qualified at center. The only other one I have is Tucker from Miami.
PJ Tucker, I have him too. There is James Wiseman is coming back. They say by Thanksgiving. He plays for Golden State. He was the kid from Memphis.
The number one pick for them last year.
He's the rookie sensation from Memphis. That got in trouble at the school. I guess they gave him some money before that rule came. You can't give players money, so he had to sit out the year. But he's in the NBA now, making millions of dollars. And James Wiseman is coming to a Golden State team that's really good, and they're going to get better.
Yeah,
when Klay Thompson joins Golden State, probably in the next 2 weeks. They're going to be unbelievable. Wiseman is practicing. He's doing 5-on-5 drills. He had surgery early in the year. I believe that he's available under 60%. So if he's available,
I would pick him up then. That's a good one.
Pick that guy up because he's going to get playing time. And you know what? Golden State's going to need somebody to rebound because Curry's not going to make every shot.
So I want to ask you about Golden State for a second, because obviously the 2 previous seasons were pretty lean years for them with Klay Thompson being hurt and some of the other guys not performing well. Now, all of a sudden, it seems like they're the best team in the West. I understand Steph Curry, and fortunately, I paid a ton for him in our auction draft. Is just amazing and arguably
Let's go back to Steph Curry. Do you think he's the best player, best shooter?
I think he's the best shooter. I don't think he's the best player. I don't think
not the best player, the best shooter, but the best. If you were to
I think he might be the best shooter of all time.
Steph Curry take it.
Yeah, I think he might be the best shooter of all time right now. Just he's kind of like Reggie Miller, but quicker. He's got a better release, I think, and he's actually. But you and I remember the '90s basketball very well when Reggie Miller would taunt the Knicks or just run around and make all these crazy 3-point shots and score lots of points. He has that quality to him, but he's got a better ball handle, so he can create his own shot better than Reggie Miller could. I never felt like Reggie Miller could create his own shot.
He could separate. Reggie Miller was great. Again, who I've been always in the top 5, and he'll never leave my top 5 is Larry Bird. Larry Bird to me was probably the best pure shooter, either hand. He can shoot left or right. He was
a much more complete player than Curry was.
He would even tell players okay, I'm going to score 30 points before the game on you. And the players would just laugh, and he would end up scoring 40 points on that player. He was the antithesis of trash talk. No one could talk trash like Larry Bird. He was the best.
We have a question I would like you to answer.
Okay.
From Chris Atwater.
Chris Atwater, big SEC fan. He loves hockey, too. I hope he comes on tomorrow.
You were at his wedding, I think.
Right? Go on.
He wants to know if Bones Highland is a good waiver wire pickup.
Again, what I said in the beginning of the show, Bones Highland, his playing time is very small. It's not worth picking him up right now. If there's some more injuries, maybe, but right now I don't think Bones Highland is a great pickup. There's better guys to pick up.
Well, the thing about Bones Highland is his minutes have been increasing over the past week.
Right.
He's played more than 15 minutes in each of the last, 7 games I'm looking at here.
Right. 15 minutes, but
he's averaging 18 minutes.
30, yeah.
He's averaging 18 minutes. And so I think if you have, look, who are the Nuggets running out right now at the guards with Murray being hurt so far this season? Is Monte Morris.
Well, Burton is hurt. Burton is their other guard forward that was playing great, but he got hurt. That's why Bones is getting some playing time.
And Michael Porter Jr. is hurt. Jamal Murray's hurt. Burton's hurt.
They do have some injuries. Highland is benefiting, but again, there's better guards that I'd rather have, or small forwards I'd rather have than Bones Highland right now. Burton should be back by this weekend. Hopefully Murray's going to be back soon in Denver. And again, there'll be a different team when he comes back. And the Joker's back from his suspension that he had early in the week for pushing a player, pretty nasty. But
so, Chris, to answer your question, Ross does not like Bones Highland.
No,
I like the way
there's better players. There's better players to pick up.
I like the way Bones Highland is trending, and he seems to be getting Coach Malone's trust a little bit more. So he's somebody I would certainly keep an eye on and snap up if he keeps getting 20 plus minutes a game, which he's gotten the last couple of days. But I do kind of agree with Ross that currently there are other better pickups at the guard position. Speaking of which, give me a couple of them, Ross.
Let's talk Chris Duarte. He got hurt. He was trending up, and then he got hurt his ankle. He's been averaging 14 points a game, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. This is a rookie. I love this kid. I feel when he's healthy, should be soon, he'll be back in that rotation for the Pacers. I like Duarte a lot. He's under 60%. Another player I like is Eric Gordon. He plays for Houston. He's been playing a good amount of time, and he's been averaging 13 points. His rebounds is only 2, and his assists are only 2. But he's been scoring. He's been trending up. So Eric Gordon is another guy. If you need a guard, it's going to get a lot of playing time in Houston because they don't have a real deep bench. And another guy that's kind of available, but he's up and down. He has good games and bad games, is Derrick Rose of the Knicks. One game he might have 20 points. The next game he might have 4 points. But still, he gets rebounds. He gets assists. He plays in a very good Knick team, and he's a former MVP. So you can't go wrong with Derrick Rose. But again, my guards this week under 60% is the weakest out of all the positions. I feel that's the weakest out of the forwards and centers. The guards are just – everybody has guards right now. I don't know why. But,
it feels like some weeks we're also just naming the same players over and over again.
I try to mix it up. I really
because – like TJ McConnell in Indianapolis is playing in the last 2 weeks. He's averaging over 28 minutes a game. You know, he shoots 55% from the floor, 80% from the free throw line, gets you points, gets you rebounds, gets you assists, averages a steal a game, doesn't turn the ball over that much. So he's at 59%. So he's right under our threshold.
59 is points per game. The past few games have been low. He's not them tearing it up in that stat, but he's somebody that always does well in assists. I'll never forget last year when he had a triple-double, not with assists and rebounds and points, but one of the categories was steals, which is crazy. He's 10 steals in one game, which is unbelievable. He had like 9 in the first half. And, this kid's he's a grinder. I mean, TJ McConnell, if you need a guard, like you said, it's not a bad pickup. He's just been trending down for me in the past few games. That's why I didn't mention his name this week. Yeah. Hopefully he picks it up this week and next week.
Another kind of retread for us is Pat Connaughton in Milwaukee. He qualifies at both guard and forward.
Yeah, but
he's averaging 3 3-pointers a game. 3 3-pointers a game.
Middleton's back. He's starting again. So Middleton's starting again. You have to watch how much playing time Pat gets because Middleton's been out, and I'm curious to see how the rotation goes with Pat in the next few games. So pay attention. Okay, give me a couple other names for people to look for. Well, those are my guards. I said Bledsoe, I said Rose, I said Duarte, and I said Eric Gordon. Those are my top 4 pickups and guards this week. And then if you want to go to forwards, Franz, not Wagner, it's Wagner, because my French is perfect, my German is perfect. He's the rookie sensation from Orlando. He's been averaging 13 minutes a game. 13 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. Who cares about that? But this guy's playing 13 minutes a game and 32 minutes a game in Orlando. I mean, he's playing really good. And he's just getting better every week. Every week he's getting better. Kelly Oubre Jr. I called him Junior. I hate doing that, but I'll do it anyway because I know you enjoy when I say Junior.
We all love the Junior.
He plays for Charlotte. He's like one of these guys that one game he'll have 30 points, next game he has 6. So, but you know what? He's been trending up. I've been watching him play. He plays a lot of minutes. If you need a forward, he could be available in your league. He's under 60% in Yahoo. He's not a bad guy to pick up. He does well with steals. He gets assists here and there. In Charlotte, to me, they have a lot of young talent. I like Kelly Oubre Jr. I had him last year in my fantasy team, and he did me really well. I hate bringing this up, and I'll bring it up to you. I hate San Antonio Spurs. Popovich, for me,
you don't like. Yeah, you're well on the
it's
well
not
noted
because
on the record.
It's not because these guys aren't good, but Popovich loves to mix up the rotation, loves to give these guys a lot of minutes one game, little minutes next. He reminds me of the Bill Belichick of football. You know what I mean? I feel sure. Belichick with running backs like Stevenson. I'll go to football real quick. Stevenson plays tonight, but Harris is healthy. I feel Harris is going to get the ball more than Stevenson, even though he had 2 touchdowns and 100 yards last week. So I feel Popovich is the same thing. I love this Devin Vassell.
Yeah.
I mean, he's under 60%, 12 points, 4 rebounds a game right now. He's trending up. But again, we talk about it, and Popovich just, except Murray, that's the only one I feel safe with on San Antonio, but he's way over 80%. But Vassell, to me, if you need a forward, he's not my favorite pickup, but he does average like 25 to 30 minutes a game, so it's not a bad pickup. Josh Hart, I love Josh Hart. Enough said. New Orleans, he's been playing a lot. He good in all categories. And then another guy that we talked about last year, I haven't brought his name up this year, is Darius Baisley of Oklahoma City. Big guy, likes to rebound. He's averaging 10 points a game, 7 rebounds and 1 assist, and almost a block a game. He plays a lot. He gets a lot of playing time, and if you need a big man forward that's going to get you some rebounds, it's not a bad guy on your team. And Atlanta has Cam Radish, they have Hooter. I mean, they have a few guys that are like at 40% that are, for me, they're like the same guy. That's
kind of like, but the small forward swingman position in Atlanta kind of fits your mold of San Antonio. You don't know who's going to get the playing time game to game, who's going to put up the numbers, because they just have so many in that. I know. Kind of the
rotation in Atlanta to me is tough to figure out. And even in Miami, it's tough, with Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero and all that stuff. I mean, they mix it up all the time. But with Jimmy Butler hurt, Duncan Robinson's getting a lot of playing time because Butler's not playing that. He's been nursing an injury. But the thing you got to watch out for, and I say this all the time, is pay attention to your players and who's hurt and who's not. LeBron James is coming back supposedly on Friday, right? So what's that mean to the rotation? Well, Westbrook's not going to be shooting the ball as much, correct? Yes.
Well, that's good for Westbrook owners.
Well, Westbrook, and then and LeBron's going to come back. So a lot of guys that've been taking a lot of shots lately are not going to be taking shots. LeBron's going to be featured, of course, in the Laker offense.
So did you get a chance to watch the Bulls Trailblazers game yesterday?
I did watch. I watched about a quarter of it.
What were your impressions? Because there's 2 guys who seem to be doing okay for Portland. One is Nasir Little, the small forward there, although he only qualifies at small forward. That kind of worries me. And Larry Nance Jr. seems to be doing a pretty good job there as one of the big men in Portland. Did you get a chance to watch?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just playing time. Larry Nance Jr. does not get, he gets one game will get like 30 minutes. The next game he gets 20. There's no consistency with him at all. Little is somebody that I've been seeing his name a lot in the box score. I mean, I watched him play. I feel that he's somebody you got to watch out for. And if he still gets playing time and he's still out there with some of their, I mean, I know they have some injuries. People are not playing for Portland right now, and Little's benefiting from it. But I feel Little will be, he could be a key player. It could be a good pickup if he's available.
Yeah. Somebody who I think was kind of last year we kind of thought good things about, and then he fell off the radar was Killian Hayes in Detroit. He was their high draft pick last year. This year they took, of course, Motorcade, Cade Cunningham, and that has diminished his minutes. But the last couple weeks, he's actually playing pretty good minutes, and he's putting up pretty good numbers. This guy, obviously, they thought he had a lot of talent and had a really high ceiling. Otherwise, they wouldn't have used that first-round pick on him. So I'm not saying to pick him up, but that's certainly somebody who I would monitor coming forward. Because one of the things we talk about a lot on this waiver wire show is don't discount good players on bad teams. Just because they play for a bad team doesn't mean they can't help you fantasy-wise. And Killian Hayes, I think if he starts turning it around, and it seems like he might be, could be somebody who could be beneficial.
That's a great example, Kasey. I mean, people love to discard like the Houstons, the Detroits, the Orlandos. I mean, Orlando has Cole Anthony, and he's almost averaging dynamite. Triple doubles. I mean, he's playing unbelievable, this guy. And he's somebody that I would love on my fantasy team, but also people don't want to watch Orlando play basketball. I don't really blame them that much. But again, you can't disregard bad teams with players. Jeremy Grant of Detroit's a great example too. He's over 60%, so I'm not telling you to pick him up.
Yeah, Christian Wood in Houston.
But I think he's averaging over 20 points a game. He gets rebounds, gets assists. I mean, there's a lot of good players on bad teams. So just don't go after the players that are on the Bulls or that are on Brooklyn or on the Knicks. Make sure you open your library to everybody. Very important.
So James Wiseman was a really great call for somebody who's coming back from injury, who we're not looking at his performance over the last week or two to say this is a guy to pick up. We're looking at his pedigree and what he was able to do last year, saying he's coming back. Get him. Are there other players in that same vein who've been out for a while, who people may have forgotten about, that they should put back on their radar?
Well, I mean, John Wall is in perfect shape. I mean, there's nothing wrong with John Wall. And you see in Yahoo, you'll see a big O next to his name. And you're saying, well, why? What's the matter? Why isn't John Wall playing basketball this year? What's wrong with him? He had a good year last year. He averaged over 20 points a game. He wants to be traded. Houston wants to trade him. No one wants him. I don't know why. I can't answer why.
Nobody wants his $41 million salary.
Yeah. I mean, he makes more money than Ross the boss. So I believe that John Wall is somebody you can stash. Klay Thompson, I brought his name up. I have him in our league. I stashed him. He'll be back very soon, and he's
over 60% though.
He's over 60. I know. I'm just naming some guys injury wise. I'm thinking who else is on injury reserve.
Jonathan Isaac is a name I keep hearing about.
Jonathan Isaac, I stole him from you in our draft.
TJ Warren in Indianapolis
I don't even know when Jonathan Isaac's coming back. Do you know anything about?
I've been trying to figure that out. I've been trying to Google him every now and then, and it's like this mystery with regards to what his time schedule is.
And it's like Kawhi Leonard's the same thing. I mean, I know he's over 60%, and our doctor friend has him in our league. I have no idea when Kawhi Leonard's coming back. I mean, he sometimes shows up to home games. He sits in the front row. He's sitting not with the team, but he sits with his friends, which is kind of weird. But I'm not judging. Not with the team. He's with like his buddies from Moreno Valley. That's where he grew up. I don't really understand, but some of these guys are coming back soon, and just be aware. And there's a good list of people that haven't played a minute yet, like the John Walls, that eventually will be ready to go. Very soon.
Sure.
And you maybe even want to trade for some of these guys like the Klay Thompsons and people like that, and the Jonathan Isaacs and all those people that are kind of stashed away.
And I'm not sure if he's over 60% owned or not, but Chris Boucher in Toronto, the reason I bring him up is not because he's been playing great. He started the year hurt.
He's under 60%. You can pick him up.
The reason I say that is because I just read today that OG Anunoby for Toronto, Nick Nurse just said he's going to be out a while. That was all the feedback, and he's listed as injured. So when you got Scotty Barnes will get a lot more playing time. Obviously, there you have Pascal Siakam. But this might open the door for Boucher, who in the past has been a pretty effective big man to get a lot more runs. So that's somebody else you should look at, I think.
It's going to help Van Fleet too. So, yeah, I mean, Toronto, Toronto has a pretty good team. They're not like a bad team. It's just with injuries are really hurting them this year. Yeah. And I feel, yes, Boucher, yes, on Boucher. I mean, last year you and I both liked him.
Right.
And I feel this year he's not playing as well as he did last year. And he's kind of he's trending down right now. So it's not somebody to pick up.
All right. Well, anybody else before we wrap this
Center-wise, Daniel Thesis. He played for the Celtics last year.
Uh-huh.
Now he's with Houston. He's averaging just 9 points before rebounds, but he's getting a lot of minutes in Houston. So there you go. And another guy that we bring up every year is Mason Plumlee. Mason plays for Charlotte. He's their center. He gets 25 to 30 minutes a game. He's only averaging around 6 points, but 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and he does block shots. So again, the center position, as we all know, it's very, very hard to find good centers. So, with the people we gave you today in the center position, we gave you some really good ones. So go out and get them.
Well, there you have it, folks. Hurry up, get to your waiver wire, pick up these players, and start to dominate your league. Ross, I always learn so much from spending this time with you. It's so much easier to learn when Dan's not here. He just gets in the way of everything productive. We're just kidding, Dan. We miss you. We love you. We can't wait to see you back here. But to everybody out there, again, if you like what you see, like these videos, please subscribe to our channel. Ring the bell for notifications. Leave your comments. We'll respond to all of them. Mr. Atwater, as always, thank you for your questions. Next week is Thanksgiving on Thursday, so you will not see us for 2 weeks. So we will be back here the Thursday after next. Same time as always, 4:45 Eastern Time, 1:45 Pacific, to give you all the news and notes you need. We'll have a lot more information then because we'll have 2 weeks of information to share with you. Have a good night, everybody, and good luck, and have a great Thanksgiving.
Hey, everyone! Castmaster here, overload of knowledge and part-time customer service rep for KillCliff. I wanted to announce my new KillCliff Octane CBD flavor. Killer Cliff Stick. Yeah, that's right. It's orange and vanilla yumminess. Woo! I know your drink hole is gonna be happy because I know everything. Just go to killcliff.com and get yours today.